Bitcoin and the Bitcoin economy needs you. Although that might not be what is often talked about, we see memes saying Bitcoin doesn't need anything, doesn't need anyone. The Bitcoin economy actually does need you. And this is such an opportunity in history, a moment where all of us can converge in London and talk about building this economy. But what does that look like? We need developers, the digital architects of this new world. I often think that as opposed to the 99 versus the 1%, it's actually reversed. We in this space, we who are holding Bitcoin and stacking and doing things, I believe that we're a part of the new 1%, and we have to go and get the 99%. So what does that look like from the standpoint of building applications and launching them? I'll give you a little bit of my personal background. I've been a founder since I was 18 years old. I turned 34 this year, so put that in perspective. I've seen the ups, the downs, the sideways, all of it. I'm also founder and CEO of a company called No Code Clarity, where our thesis is to build on Bitcoin and to build for mass adoption. Along with this, I've had opportunities to author a best-selling book, also to consult for actor, author, and activist Hill Harper, and I'm blessed and honored to be a contractor for the Stacks Foundation for over a year. But in my time frame of launching products and services and businesses, I've created this strategy that allows for me to extrapolate an idea and strip it down. And it's the IPO strategy, not initial public offering, but idea, path, opportunity. Idea, path, opportunity. So what this looks like is, when you have an idea, is it possible, is it viable, and is it scalable? These are the three things that I often use to measure the merit or the worth of an idea. Next step is path. Once you have an idea that has value, how quick can you get it to market? Can you whip up a beta and get it public soon? How quick can you get traction? And then also, how quickly can you monetize that idea, get to revenue? The last point is opportunity. So once you have an idea that has value, once you've determined the pathway of that idea, what's the opportunity once this idea is birthed into the world? Is it creating something that's open source, that's going to be supported through grants? Is it going to be something that is venture-backed, and you're dealing with AngelNet syndicates and whatnot? Or is it something that is the rarer, harder part, harder road? It's something that you personally bootstrap, and you get to the point of profitability. We're going to look at a few ideas since Andre has casted the vision and Kenny has showed you what's possible with DevNet. What does it look like to build something? So we're going to have 5 ideas, starting with Ordinals. So imagine, if you will, that there's an Ordinal auction house where payments are streamlined through Clarity smart contracts, leveraging sBTC. What does that look like? How would you build that out? With this, I personally think that the path has pre-existing models, auction house, they exist, digitally and otherwise. You can leverage existing Ordinal communities, and you also can speak with Ordinal influencers. So you can build this idea, and you can get to a pathway to get it out there. So idea seems to fit. From the standpoint of opportunity, there's actually 2. There's a fund called the Bitcoin Frontier Fund, BFF. Some representatives may actually be here. So they are really interested in Ordinals. So not only do you have an idea that has value, you have a pathway, the opportunity is there from the standpoint of venture capital or to bootstrap it on your own. And how could you do that? Have commissions on each successful auction. So idea, path, opportunity. How does sBTC and Ordinals within this space work? This is one way that it could work. Second one, I think is a personal favorite of many Bitcoiners, is DeFi. As Andre spoke on, there's a huge opportunity to unlock Bitcoin DeFi. Once someone cracks that code, it's going to be off to the races. This is one potential example of what could be. sBTC lending. So a peer-to-peer lending platform using sBTC as the lending currency, and it fills a gap, and there could be more loan options offered. But sticking with sBTC for a moment, the path is very simple. We've seen it on other chains. We've seen it in other Bitcoin L2s like Stacks. You're able to have contract templates that you can extrapolate and learn from. You can even create DAO structures to incentivize the velocity of the community coupled with this. And we've seen that a few different places. And you also could have contracts streamlining everything from the agreements, et cetera. Now the opportunity here, you can monetize through various fees, and you also could fit within the scope of a few different initiatives. So MIT, they have something called Solve, where if an idea fits within their scope, they'll groom you, they'll present you in front of people, some VCs, maybe even some sovereign wealth funds, you never know. But because of that network, you can build this idea and launch it, and it fits within the financial inclusion initiative. Also, the UN, they have sustainable goals. So I want the digital architects of the new world to go beyond building, shipping, and just doing the if you build it, they will come. I think that builders in the Bitcoin economy, they're going to be hybrids. They're going to have to think like a founder while operating as a developer. So this could be one way to get high visibility on something that's launched. And then also from the standpoint of interest with VCs, there's high interest in DeFi because there's an obvious path of return. I want to talk about something that's deeply personal to me, Remittance. I'm actually relocating to Cape Town, South Africa with my family. And prior to this, I was sending Bitcoin, not using MoneyGram, not using any of the intermediaries that are known in the States, but literally sending them value digitally through Bitcoin. So Remittance is something deeply personal to me. So that's why I think that with sBTC, it would be very interesting if there was a payroll system where people were able to choose the value that they want to get paid in. Maybe it's British pound, maybe it's South African rand, but I think more times than not, markets like Argentina, Venezuela, et cetera, they're opting in for something that's digital. So what would a digital payroll system look like for sBTC? International payroll platforms using sBTC can pay employees across borders. You can use Clarity smart contracts to streamline payments, even introducing micropayments, which is something that the Lightning community has been very, very good at. I think sBTC could also do that as well, and fees would be lower. So checks all of the boxes. Path, this is the interesting part. You actually have a clearer path than a lot of the other ideas because you can target small businesses looking for swifter and cheaper payment solutions. You also can have international agencies, whether they be marketing or developers, agencies that may want to do sBTC as a form of payment. It's really good for remote teams, and the path for monetization is simple because you can have subscription or transaction-based opportunities there. So low initial overhead, global impact, profit-generating business, and most importantly, especially for VCs, a path to potential acquisition. What would happen if QuickBooks says, hey, I like this and we want to purchase it? That would make all of your investors very happy. Next, I want to talk about consumers. So all of us, we have to, in an economy, we have to spend value in order to have a place to live or medical bills or what have you. And one thing that I've learned is people like free things. So if there was an sBTC loyalty program where you can redeem points for sBTC, that would be highly valuable, especially in emerging markets where they have to spend value anyway. What would happen if they accrued points and they were able to convert that into sBTC? It personally could enhance their life, but also for the business, it would create a huge opportunity for customer retention because they're offering something that others can't. So with this, the path is simple. You can leverage existing loyalty programs, you can study their models, you can innovate, you can create fees based on conversions and partnerships, and the partnership fees themselves could help sustain and grow the business. So the opportunity is very simple. As the value of Bitcoin and the usage of Bitcoin climbs, it's going to create an easy way for people to have exposure to a digital asset. And it could be VC-backed or bootstrap. Last but not least, the white-hot space of AI. What does Bitcoin and AI have to do with one another? I personally think, and this is potentially a contentious point, but bear with me, just as an example, what would happen if LLMs or large language models had a decentralized marketplace and the payment that was accepted for that marketplace was sBTC, coupled with smart contracts, streamlining everything? that could be very huge from the standpoint of speed, scale, and because a lot of enterprise businesses as well as startups are integrating AI every single day. So Clarity smart contracts can manage training, task, and payments, high demand for machine learning services. The path is there, it's there. And then lastly, it could be explosive to combine this because we haven't seen this. Some of these ideas I haven't seen, some of them I've gleaned from companies that are doing things, but I want you all to begin to imagine. Imagine that I'm massaging your subconscious with ideas that you can utilize and build with sBTC, whether it's Ordinals to AI. So I want to end with 3 points. As you all are building the future of the Bitcoin economy, what does it look like from the standpoint of UI, UX? That's the brightest because that's one thing that Web3 really needs help with. One thing that I've noticed is you can onboard someone by way of the value prop of Bitcoin. The fact that not only is this hard money, but it's software, it's decentralized, all of that checks the box. But if someone wants to use a Bitcoin app, what does that look like? Can you imagine that? Is it clunky? Is it colorful? That's one point of focus I want you all to imagine. Also, distribution. It's very important that you get the software out by way of marketing, but also following user flows. How do people onboard to your platform? Do they need a wallet or can it be an email? All of those different points. And then lastly, monetize. Since we just spoke on AI, they've been really good at monetizing from day zero. I would love to see Bitcoin startups do the same. With this, leave you with some QR codes. If you haven't already, please scan and learn more about sBTC. sbtc.tech is the website. It's going to be the hub for everything that you're going to want to know regarding hackathons, regarding updates about testnet and mainnet. There's an amazing newsletter called bitcoinrights.com. It's the website for that. This is the scan that you would want to get. Secondly, Kenny, who just spoke, he created a free course, a free tool that I think everyone here should try out. It's called Bitcoin Primer. It's going to give you the first initial steps on how to do a Bitcoin application. And then lastly, Clarity Smart Contracts. sBTC, Clarity Smart Contracts, they go hand in hand together. Lastly, for anyone that wants to stay connected with me, this is a way to do so. Just scan this QR code, and I'm happy to speak with any of you all. If you're in that hybrid bridge stage of, I have an idea, but how do I go to market? I'm happy to talk with any and all of you all. And with that, I'll give a couple more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. Thank you so much. Bitcoin London, let's get it. Let's build the future on Bitcoin. Thank you.